I'm going to bust some of the biggest lies in the sports card hobby right now. I'm going to give you, I don't know, like 8, 10 lies. And I'm going to tell you why each one is a lie and some things to watch out for. So the first one is that grading is unbiased. If you're a new collector and you think you're going to send your card in and get the grade that that card actually deserves, you need to think otherwise, because that is not what happens. Sadly, grading involves human beings, and human beings can get dumped. Human beings can have headaches. Human beings can be rushed. They can have a bad day. I had a Beckett grader on my old channel, and he said that he spent 30 seconds a card. That's not a lot of time, and I don't know if you just had a burrito after lunch and you're starting to fall asleep. I don't know if you'll be as sharp as after you had your coffee in the morning. And so they're not machines that can be more perfect, like AI, concise, objective. I do think an AI company is going to come out of nowhere and just like obliterate this market. But for now, we're going to have humans. I think PSA has 2 humans look at every card. But like I said, they get tired. They have their own biases too. Some of them might not even like vintage. They might be tired of seeing Jordan, an 86 Fleer Jordan. They might hate modern cards. You don't know. You don't know who you're going to get. And things, even though Nat was on the channel and he said that the grading standards haven't changed, they have in some cases, in my opinion. If you think every PSA 10 and every PSA 9 was judged by the exact same standards, it's just not true. So that's my first one. Grading is unbiased, busted, completely busted. It can be biased until the day that, I don't know, ChatGPT does it for us or something. All right, second one. Pop reports tell the whole story. This is near and dear to my heart. Don't believe the pop reports are like the tip of the iceberg. Then there's all kinds of things happening under the iceberg. If you look at like a set or something like that, 86 Fleer set, 69 tops, a pop report will tell you, all right, there's 2 of this card signed, but it doesn't account for the old blue flip labels that are just out there from the old days of PSA. It doesn't account for things that are raw in addicts. It doesn't account for things that are in Beckett slabs or, SGC slabs, depending on the pop report you're looking at. So here's the other problem. Not everybody's really good at, like, if you crack things out, like I do all the time, I see these labels, I'll crack these out and get them signed by players. I'm pretty good about attaching the label, but sometimes I'm afraid to, because I don't want it to influence their decision on the new grade. If you don't include that label, the pop account goes up every single time. And it makes me wonder, like, autographs, like the pop is probably bigger than you think it is. By 20, 30%, whatever ratio. Like if you look at a particular set and you say, all right, 30% of these cards are signed, I would say half of those cards have inflated the pop. Card shows are the best place for deals. I'm going to bust this one. I don't know. I feel bad about busting this one, but it's like everybody's like, go to a show. That's what the deals are. Maybe before COVID. Now, lots of things happening at these shows. The first thing that's happening is you've got these runners for repackers like Arena Club, and they're just walking in with backpacks and cleaning out tables at 80% comps before the show even opens. But if the show does open and the guys marked their table up, what I've seen in my experience, let me know if you guys have seen this across the country, but in Boston or in Metro Boston or New England, I've been to shows, and it feels like they've marked up all the cards just about 20% over comps. And they get annoyed if you try to bargain it. It's very weird. And then you just spend your time on your phones on Card Ladder, which is only like 65% accurate, by the way, 130 point, and eBay sold, which, by the way, shill bidding exists. So none of that's very good. I don't think they're the best places to get a good card deal. I do think they're the best places to network and build relationships and trade cards. I think that's fantastic. If you're a young kid, you want to get into sports cards, you're a flipper or somebody like that, go to show, meet people. I think that's sick. That's probably the thing I've enjoyed the most. I'll go to Shriners over here. It's our big 300-400 table show. a couple times a year, and I love meeting people. It's really fun. And then you do deals down the road that end up becoming deals. So I would say it's busted for deals, but it passes for networking. All right, raw cards are dead. This is my next one that I'm going to bust here. So everybody acts like raw cards are worthless. And it's interesting in the modern world. You know, if you look at the Wemby population, a Wemby Prism rookie card, there are more PSA 10s than there are of all the other grades of Wemby's cards combined. That's nuts. And it makes you think like, geez, it makes even the PSA 9 seem worthless. And then the raw card simply becomes a gamble. You have a 50-50 shot of getting that prism in a PSA 10. And so is that worthless? I don't think it's dead. I think it's just harder. It's harder to evaluate condition. You know, you go on eBay and that stuff's difficult. You got people like, they'll be sneaky. They'll take pictures and like the bottom right corner is like shadowed out and that's where the bad corner is. I've seen this in vintage all the time. Or they'll Photoshop so the crease doesn't look that bad and you think it might cross to a 4. It's really going to be a 2. So it takes a long time. I mean, to evaluate things like that, you got to go in person. And I think that people are just kind of lazy and scared. But dollar boxes are legit. You know, I think of my closet back there. I got like 2 or 3 boxes full of just raw cards. Some of them might be worth $100, but I don't have time to go through them, and I'll probably just dump them at a card show. And that's where the money is. Like, and those are all raw cards. You know, you go through that dollar bin, they don't have the time to sort stacks of cards when a rookie gets 3 touchdowns in a game, and it pops. They just don't. There's no fast way to do it. So, and sometimes I've seen people go through those things and they get a 1 of 1 like on the back, and it's worth $500. So raw cards aren't dead. You can find some things in the dollar bin that are good cards for sets, but also good cards for value as well. So this one is busted. Next one, RPA patches are always real. Yikes. Panini started this one. Look at all your Panini patch cards from 2021 basketball. The back of them say, this player material is not associated with any game or event whatsoever. So they took a jersey that you can buy for $50 and just cut it up and put it in the cards. That's awful. And then they're losing their licenses. So they're taking old patches from other players, like retired players. And they're using those patches in so you get a retired player on the Dolphins and you'll get a new player on the Dolphins. And they will use that patch in the new player because they're just trying to get them out. And again, the back covers them. It's not like worn or whatever. They used to actually have to put them on. Although I have heard rumors, I'm not going to name the company. I don't want to get in trouble. There's a bunch of companies. But I've talked to some athletes, and the rumor is one of them received a note. And that note said he got a bunch of jerseys. He was supposed to sign. Not sign. He was supposed to, wear and sign. And the note said, please just, all you have to do is touch the jerseys. Whoa. That's, I heard that directly from an athlete. Won't name the sport or anything like that, but that's pretty wild. That's pretty wild. So not every patch is legit. There are different circumstances behind each patch. And some are worth more than others for that reason. So I'm going to bust this one. Sealed wax always goes up, right? They're making less of it. It's like oil or gold or anything we pull out of the earth, right? Like, it's going to be worth more because there's less of it, right? Problem with sealed wax is CAT scanning. I broke this a year and a half ago. I was the guy that interviewed them, blew things up. Thousands of cases of cards have been scanned and are continuing to get scanned. I've seen so much fake stuff from Pokemon. Pokemon is rampant. All that first edition, Jungle, Fossil, whatever. They'll run it through the CT scanner. It'll be different cards. And I actually think wax has already peaked. If you're holding on to wax, it's time to either open it or sell it. Open it because, hey, that's what it was intended for. I would open that up and have fun. And maybe you get the good card, maybe you don't. I actually think we're going to have the great opening because wax is going to go down, and it just makes sense to open it. But there's other factors too. Forget about, let's pretend CT scanning doesn't exist. Bad rookie class, wax goes down. You find out the print run's high, wax goes down. Collector has a, changing of the wind, or the NBA changes. It goes by season too sometimes. And yes, like Ovechkin's rookie the cup year or Crosby's rookie the cup year are probably safe. But even though they're in metal, everybody, they can CAT scan right through that shit. Like no problem, and see every card. So, I mean, I like what Upper Deck's doing, but the old stuff is cooked, Some of it may not be worth, under 10 grand, you're probably okay. Over 10 grand, it starts to be worth it to spend a couple $100. You scan it, $200, put it on eBay, scan another one, $200, put it on eBay, scan another one. It's hard to trust much. You should CAT scan yourself if you're going to buy anything. Why not? It like levels the playing field. Like I said, all-time talent is the only thing that gets it done. So it does not always go up. Busted. Autographs are always authentic. This one should scare people. I'm an autograph guy. I've got the 86 Fleer set autographed. 69 Topps set autographed. That's actually going up for auction in January. That's going to be fun to watch because there's like 2 of those in the world. This is not always the case. There's a lot of forgeries out there, especially on the cheaper cards. I talked to Steve Grad. He said the most forged guys still are Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, and Michael Jordan. Those are the top 3, which makes sense. Babe Ruth has been forged since the beginning of time. Mantle is not the most complicated signature, so people forge it. And Jordan has so much value. His autograph has so much value. So, of course, they do it. They do it on his rookie card. But the cheapest rookie card, a Pour 1, is like a couple grand. So more often than not, they'll do it on like a cheap Jordan. eBay has like 1,000 fake Jordan autographs. Don't buy anything unslabbed signed by Jordan on eBay, period. End of story. There is no exception. They are all bad. But even if they get authenticated, again, the great is a human. And, it could be clubhouse signed, ghost signed, somebody's brother could sign it. There's been a lot of fakes caught after slabbing, and the companies rarely admit these mistakes unless the internet forces them to. I'm a pretty squeaky wheel on Instagram, and I do get some of these decertified. I had that happen with 2 Jordan autos. They were just bad. And anyway, autographs are always authentic. We also had that that massive memorabilia scandal this summer. The guy committed suicide and, talked about how everything's fake or whatever. Not everything's real in this world. So always have one eye open, kind of looking at the autographs, and verify from multiple places. So busted. PSA 10 always deserves the premium. This is classic buying the grade. I've got a PSA 5 and a PSA 10 up here. Do you think if you showed this to somebody, I don't know, like your daughter or your grandmother or your uncle or something like that, and you ask them, how different are these? I feel like they would say they're 2% different. The value difference is like 99%. It's wild. And honestly, the eye peel is like, obviously the PSA 10 commands a premium. It made it into this PSA 10 slab. The slab is what has the value, not the card. It's just like, it's like the circumstances at the time that led that card to end up as a 10. It's almost like music. Like when you hear a song off an album, it will never sound like that again. It only sounded like that one time when the band was playing that way with those instruments in that room. Every other time, live on a different album, whatever, all the other takes, they sounded different. It's just like grading. It's a human element to it. And so I don't think they always deserve the premium because sometimes the card in them isn't a 10. And people are starting to get smarter about that and actually look at the card inside the slab. I do this. Pokemon The Pokemon world is much better at this than the sports card world. They don't just take the slab. They will look at the slab and say, okay, actually the back of that has some white dots on it, like which happens in Pokemon all the time. And they will think about it. So don't always pay for a massive number. Look for a strong 9 or an 8. Like I've had 8s get upgraded sometimes. Like I'll crack an 8 for 86 Fleer, and that'll go up to a 9, and there's value there too. But yeah, if you have unlimited money, always go for the premium, super duper top end $1 million, PSA 10 cart. But I don't think it always deserves the premium, so bust it. Hobby is safe from manipulation. This is the biggest lie of all. I have seen some bad freaking behavior in my time. I've seen stuff go down in the 86 Fleer Facebook group where people just want to pump the market. And then they 3x the value of cards. They do a successful job. They take some money. They throw it in there. And then they eventually sell a set of these cards at auction. That's the peak moment. And then it crashes back down. And that's kind of disgusting. There's pump and dump. There's pump groups for every single card. But really, the 86 Fleer group is a great group. It's loyal people. You can actually, that's where you get good card deals. Go there. It's off eBay. There's no fees and stuff like that. You can do cash deals. It's great. But some bad behavior happens too. Not so much on private Discords or anything like that, but like on Instagram, people will pump things they own. There's shill bidding. The thing that happened with Snipe is pretty bad. Snipe was Rick Probstein's attempt at an auction house, and they hid in the terms of service that they're allowed to bid on their own stuff. And then auctions all start and they're hacked or whatever, and we see the bidding, and he's using software or something or in some way to like bid on the cards and bid them up. And that sucks. Heritage Auctions is based in Dallas, Texas. And they have their terms that say our employees are allowed to bid on cards. So is the auction house. That kind of sucks. I do wonder if you're an executive at PSA, do you disclose? Like, should you even be allowed to grade cards? I don't know. I don't think they should, unless it's perfect double-blind walls. What about you guys? Do you want to see, kind of like stocks? You see officers and their ownership stake and their behavior, how much they're selling and buying. Would you like to see PSA officers, director and above, and what their average grades are? I would love to see that. Not just them, Beckett too. CGC, and I've seen this too, and it's unfortunate. Like, if you're noisy and you have a big following, like I do on Instagram, I can get things done for certain companies. I can get things fixed for people, but it shouldn't have to take that. And it sucks, but it does show that the hobby can be manipulated for both money and other things, and it's kind of icky. It's just a lot of money to be made. If you could pump something up and make $500,000 without any effort, a lot of people are going to try that, So, yeah, it's better than it was, I think, in the 90s. That's for sure. But still, I don't think it's safe from manipulation. So, bust it. So I lost count. I don't know how many of those I did. It felt like 8. I don't know. You guys can let me know how many I did. I was trying to do 10, but I couldn't think of another one. The truth is uncomfortable sometimes. Like, this is an uncomfortable video because these are some things that people, they think matter and they think represent the sports card hobby a certain way. But I want you to be aware of these things so you don't get ripped off, because I do have new collectors that watch this channel. Not everybody is experienced and understands this stuff. And so my goal with this channel, honestly, if you want to subscribe or whatever, is like, I'm going to pull back the curtain. I'm going to be like the magician that explains how the trick is done. That's kind of how I want this channel to go and what direction I want it to go in. I'm going to explain how things really work. On Instagram, I do it in 30 seconds. And on here, thankfully, I have a little more time to breathe and explain things. And obviously, I'm a well-connected guy, and I see kind of all aspects of the industry. And I'm calm and rational sometimes, so I can come on here and explain some of this stuff. So hopefully this busted a few things that you thought. And feel free to challenge me on these. I could be wrong on some of these. I want to hear your thoughts too. Thanks, everyone.